Despite President Biden's engaging in last-ditch diplomacy with Vladimir Putin and the Ukrainian president over the weekend, the White House continues to warn that an attack could come at any time. Terry Moran is on the ground for us in Ukraine and joins us now. Terry, let's start with that Biden-Putin conversation. Was there any hint of hope for diplomacy that came out of that call?
It didn't look great coming out of that call, but they did pledge to try to work on the issues which divide the United States and Russia. And mainly, that is, will Ukraine be able to choose whether or not it wants to belong to NATO, whether it wants to continue the path of democratization and getting closer to Europe? Or will the West have to concede that this is part of Russia's sphere of influence, as Vladimir Putin demands? Not a lot of give there, but they did pledge to continue to talk about the Russian buildup and continue to look for a solution to Russia's concerns. President Biden has been working feverishly behind the scenes with European leaders to perhaps find some other forum for discussions of the security interests that Russia is talking about. Russia has a long history of wanting strategic depth around its borders. It has a history of being invaded for hundreds of years by Napoleon, by the Germans, by the Huns and others before that. And that is part of the Russian strategic personality, that they want some strategic depth. Now, that is what Vladimir Putin has been demanding really for years. It seems like this is the time where he's pushed all his chips into the center of the table to find a way to get it. And today, there did seem to be some good news, Phil, on the diplomatic front in what looked for all the world like a scripted event. Vladimir Putin met with his foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, and theatrically asked Lavrov, do you think that the diplomatic talks should continue? Is there still room for more progress? And Lavrov said, yes, he did believe that the main demands can still be discussed, and Putin responded, good, good. So it looks like perhaps the temperature is lowering a little bit. That said, those forces still flowing into the areas around Ukraine, boots on the ground on the border, ships at sea off the coast. We're a long way from the end game here.
Yeah, and on that, Terry, you've been reporting that 100,000 Russian troops are now on 3 of Ukraine's borders, and a submarine joined dozens of Russian ships in the Black Sea. But the official line from Russia is still that the U.S. warnings are, quote, hysteria, right?
That's right. They're saying that these are all normal exercises. Every country has the right to perform military exercises on its territory or with its allies. Some of the Russian forces in Belarus, which is the country just to the north of Ukraine, and the ships at sea conducting normal naval drills. The problem with that, Phil, is that really these are larger exercises than had ever been seen around around Ukraine's border. Putin has sent apparently about 60% of his combat battalions around Ukraine right now, and they continue to move forward, it seems, taking forward positions closer and closer. What he's done is lay the table, give himself every option for lightning strikes into Ukraine or pulling back to barracks. And in fact, Foreign Minister Lavrov had said somewhat contemptuously yesterday about the United States warnings, these are hysteria, so that when we do pull back into the bases, you will say, which we intended to all the time, you'll declare victory over us. Which all sounds, once again, like maybe the way that President Biden has handled this with the allies, trying to craft some diplomatic path forward, while a very firm stance arming Ukraine, getting NATO to stand in solidarity. Maybe things are de-escalating, but as I say, we are a long way from the end game. Phil?
Russia on one side, NATO countries on the other. The U.S., other countries are encouraging expat citizens to get out of the country. And we're seeing that, not hysteria, but other countries asking to do this along with the U.S. But you're there in Ukraine. What are you seeing? Are you seeing any kind of mass evacuation?
You know, not at all, Phil. I would have thought a little something, more traffic on the roads. There's rush hour traffic, but nothing else. We were at the airport last night. We're in Lviv today. We came here from Kyiv, and the airport was not particularly crowded. 8 o'clock on a Sunday night and through the day. So there were some longer lines, but no one is heading for the border. What you have seen, and the president of Ukraine has mentioned this, President Zelensky, there's been a very high number of private jets, the jets jets of the oligarchs, of the rich Ukrainians flying out. And some politicians, and Zelensky scolded them. He told them to come back. Don't panic. As for the expats, more of them are either leaving or making some kind of contingency plans to leave, but there hasn't even been that great of an exodus there. We talked with an American today who said he'll stay. He's made friends here. He has a life here. He's a teacher out at a nearby university, and he said he has no intention of leaving. At home, his loved ones are saying, get out, please, because our government is saying that. On the ground here, things feel different, and no one is making a rush for the border.
And Terry, quickly, finally, we've been hearing about a potential cyber attack. If this does become something more than it is right now, how would a cyber attack play a role in what Russia would need to do or want to do?
Well, it would blind the Ukrainian defense forces and silence their communications. And that would be a major goal, and perhaps so panic as well, because when your devices go down, everybody knows these days you do feel very much cut off from the world. So there would be a practical impact of a major cyber attack in throwing the defenses into darkness and silence. And a psychological impact, striking terror through the population. Ukraine has been the target of some of the largest cyber attacks in the world. In 2015, just before Christmas, they were hit with a gigantic attack that turned out the lights around Kyiv and shut down the heat just for a few hours. But as experts looked at the software, the malign software that shut down the power, what they found was that it actually failed in its job. Its job was to destroy the physical infrastructure, to have the turbines and such turn on themselves. And so Russia has a long history of using cyber war here. That would be the first sign for sure. Bill?
Terry Moran in Ukraine, thank you and good to see you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.